You're listening to Cattywampus.
When I first went to a Hot Topic, they had Stanley Kubrick keychains. Just think about where they started for a second.
Oh, yeah.
When I first...
You mean back before it wasn't just a place I went to go get Nightmare Before Christmas themed socks?
Even that seems beyond them now.
The first time I went to Hot Topic, I think I was actually kind of scared because I was little and I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
This is devil worship.
It's the same as like when you see a tattoo parlor in a 90s movie. Or like and a kid in it, I don't know.
Go on.
I don't know. Like in kids' films, like if you saw, I want to say they would show like a tattoo parlor and be like, "That's a bad place. Don't go there."
I feel like your parents were showing you very specific films.
I don't know what movie you're referring to. You're gonna
I
have
don't
to...
know. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of I think it was the anti-smoking commercial where it's like a kid getting a tattoo in a dungeon.
Oh no!
And he like it shows the tattoo artist and his teeth are like falling out of his face and he's just like, "You want a cigarette?
You want to buy some Death Sticks?
Yeah.
You want to buy some Death Sticks?"
You don't want to sell me Death Sticks. Is his name like Sleaze Bagano or
Yeah,
something like that?
Yeah,
Why
it's
does he
real bad.
actually have a name? Is that from the script or is that the extended
Everyone
universe?
in Star Wars has a name.
Everyone in Star Wars has a name. They all have a story.
They all have a
That's
toy.
why. That's even the malfunctioning droid that Luke doesn't buy has a story.
R4D5?
Yeah,
Are you
he was a
serious?
Jedi.
So is this extended universe
What?
or just like fan fiction?
Did you not know that, Brian? That R4D5 was a Jedi. He was Force sensitive, and he knew that Luke had an important future, and that if he had picked him, it wouldn't be fulfilled. So he
Says
purposely
Says a
extended-
book. It was a book.
But that's not canon anymore.
Not anymore,
Not
but it
anymore,
was.
but it was.
It
Fuck
was
that.
for way too long.
Fuck that book.
It was canon before Disney bought Lucas?
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
droid used the Force to kill himself so that he would pick R2.
This is real. This is 100%
These are things
real.
that occurred.
I wish I never
This
knew
is what passed for Star Wars story.
It was back when Han and Leia's kids were Jason and Janna, but spelt in ways those names never would be. And then their third kid was Anakin. And Chewbacca died by a moon crushing him.
He did, which is a real badass way to go out, to be fair.
Well, they killed him because it was books, and they were like, it's really hard to write Chewbacca.
How many different ways can you go?
Yeah. So anyway,
"Brr," said Chewbacca.
Chewbacca stared pensively. He thought to himself.
So somehow we need to get to an intro, and then
I was about to
This is the intro.
I was about to say, so anyways, happy holidays. For Christmas, we read the story of R4D5. So we watched today, everybody, we watched Home Alone. It was Christmas in July, as we all know. We are people who are of age that Home Alone was part of our childhood, probably, most likely.
It is a nostalgic piece of my childhood. I enjoyed it thoroughly as a child.
Really?
Yeah, I was a kid. I was stupid. I enjoyed lots of stupid shit.
I didn't hate Home Alone. Rewatching is the family's definitely more evil than I thought they were.
God, they're the worst
They are
people in the world.
horrible.
But maybe that's just what '90s parents were. Maybe I don't know.
I grew up in the 90s. I don't recall anyone ever treating me like that.
You don't have the internet to let all your rage out on.
That's true.
You got to let it out on your kids.
It's fun, but I don't like it. It's really cringy.
When's the last time you saw it before today?
God, I was probably like 10 or 12, somewhere around
Really?
there.
Do you like it more now or then?
Oh, probably I liked it more now, but I still didn't like the cringy bits.
I mean, what gave you
what's
pause
cringy?
to cringe?
Oh, what isn't there
Yeah,
to
Corey,
cringe
what
about?
offended you in this?
Let's see
What
here.
possible thing could have offended you in this movie?
Well, okay, so we have like the anxiety-induced flashback of everybody telling Kevin, is that his name?
Kevin McAllister.
Kevin McAllister, remembering how everybody just talks shit about him, but he's gotta do his own thing. And then there's all the not body horror, because this is like a G or PG.
It's not
movie,
body
right?
horror. No.
This isn't even
But the
close.
thought
Oh,
of
man.
going, I thought of a
I
nail
feel
going
like
through my
you're
foot is
using
just
that
terrible.
that
Home
wrong.
Alone.
Yeah, I don't think you know what that phrase means.
Home Alone with a parasite.
David Cronenberg's Home Alone. I feel
I'm
like
into this idea.
now that I'm alone in the home, I am becoming the home. And he wakes up and his hand is fused into the bedpost.
I just don't get it. I just don't get why these robbers would keep trying to rob after their feet were torn
That's
to
the only.
shreds.
That's the only reason they picked that street. Remember?
Yeah, they picked
I
that
know
whole
this
street because
house.
of that one house.
Who
They-
gives
they
a
can't
fuck?
possibly
they
go anywhere
looted
else.
the whole place. They looted the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, and they need this last house, this one last score. I did think, like, what would this movie be like if they were the main characters? Would it be like Stanley Kubrick's The Killing? It's like, I just gotta rob this horse race.
Yeah, just this one last thing, and then we're out.
One last job, and then Lloyd and whatever his name, Lloyd and Marv can travel to Mexico together. It's like the end of Shawshank.
It's like the whole first act is basically just showing us how shitty of a family Kevin has.
Yeah, they're
everybody,
rough.
the parents, both of them, they're just completely detached from all their kids and nephews and nieces or whatever. And then after they forget their kid because of what was it? The windstorm?
So it's a couple of things.
What was that?
So there's some mitigating circumstances combined with poor parenting. So first off, they tell this 7-year-old, you need to go pack your own suitcase. And the idea that you would trust a 7-year-old to pack his own suitcase is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Then on top of that, there is a power outage that makes them late because they slept in because all the phones and the clocks.
No phones.
No phones. It was just their alarm clocks reset.
Yeah.
We were in the days before cellular technology.
But also the phone lines were down or whatever.
the phone lines
And
ended up down.
then a neighborhood kid comes into the shuttle van. A shuttle van, the kids didn't even know. So they didn't even tell the kids how they were leaving until this very moment. And so then they rely on their daughter, an underaged person, to then keep account for 10 other children, and there's 6 adults, and none of these adults can like take a moment out to count for these children. So the daughter counts Ron while her brother tries to fuck her up on the count anyway, because the neighborhood kid is there. And so then the mom gets in and goes to her one daughter and goes, hey, you accounted for all the children, right? And she goes, yeah. And she lists off the number. And the mom is like, great, I need to do no checking on this. And then they leave. And at no point does she, through the car ride, the plane travel, and halfway to Paris, does she go, I wonder where my son is. It's weird, I haven't seen him all day. And then it occurs to her finally.
Her spidey senses tingle. Something I forgot.
on the airplane
it's
as
Kevin. Specifically Kevin.
Something I forgot. Number 1, is it the child? No. No, I'm going to list through 6 other unimportant things before I get to my kid. Something I forgot. Was it my keys? Was it the lights? Was it the garage door? Was it the coffee? And then finally she's like, oh no, the flesh of my flesh is what I forgot.
But it's directly to Kevin. Like, she literally just goes straight to Kevin. It's not like she even looks at any of her kids while they're running through the airport or while they're in the buses.
No.
She just immediately knows
she
it
knew.
happens to be Kevin.
No. Whereas the dad is just like, can't even be bothered.
Yeah. Dad's just like, yeah, we forgot something. Fuck it, it's probably fine.
It's fine. I forgot to close the garage door.
Oh, that must be it. I just forgot to close the garage.
Yeah, we forgot our child in America. We left him in a country. And so Kevin wakes
in
up.
Chicago, right?
They're in Chicago. They're in the suburbs of Chicago. And so in a $1 million home or millions of dollar home. Then somehow they're stranded and cannot get back, strangely, until magically they're back. And Kevin has to fend for himself. I'm not quite sure how he gets to the grocery store. I guess we're meant to think he walked to the grocery store.
He walked everywhere, so I guess we're assuming that wherever this neighborhood is, it is adjacent to everything he could conceivably need, and he is comfortable walking.
Total horseshit in the middle of the winter in
Right.
Chicago.
yeah. It's I mean
It's not that far of a drive.
he's a walk away from the church, the store, the town square where they're ice skating.
And that $1 million stretch of homes, those things aren't near anything.
I mean, the first shot of the film where everybody's running around being the shittiest human beings imaginable. There's just one cop just standing in the middle of the foyer right near the front door going, hey, I would like to speak to a fucking adult while everyone in the world ignores him.
Could he have not just robbed the house then?
Probably.
At that point, yes. He could have taken everything and been fine.
But the movie would have only been 5 minutes long. He would have gone in, nobody would have addressed him. So he just went,
It would've-
okay, I'm just
he
going to take some
would've-
stuff, and then he leaves, and nobody notices because all the parents are upstairs doing their own thing, and the
I
kids
see
don't
it.
care.
I see it now. He walks out of the front door. He's got the treasure in hand, and his teeth glisten.
Yeah.
Good news, Marv. I got all the treasure. And I stole their pizza.
I robbed everything and stole 3 children. They will never know.
Let's get to Mexico. It was weird, too, because that's also when we were introduced to who I believe was the worst character in the film. Kevin's uncle.
Yeah, no, what was his name? Frank? Yeah,
Frank,
Frank,
Fred,
yeah.
fuck that guy. Whatever.
Yeah.
What a
the
dick.
shittiest human being just imaginable. And that's saying something considering the entire house was filled with shitty human beings.
Yeah, he's the worst of the worst.
He's the
you know?
reason for it all.
He kind of is because one, so everyone just decides to take everything in their lives out on Kevin, a 7 or 8 year old child, and then they allow their his weird psychopathic brother who keeps a gun over his bed and keeps porn in an unlocked
It's
chest.
a trunk. Like, he has a fucking, like, steamer trunk.
Yeah, he has a steamer
just filled
trunk.
with firecrackers and porn.
It's got explosives, porn, probably a widow from the 20s. Who the fuck knows?
There was
what's
some
in
junk food in there. I think I saw a Twinkie.
Yeah, oh yeah, real serial killer behavior. And then the uncle, first of all, takes the pizzas from this poor like teenage delivery guy, and then it's like, I don't live here, I don't have to pay you. I'm just taking your product. And then he shoves himself back into, I think, his own child.
Yeah, I believe it was
breaking his nose because that's the sound effect. That's his child. Wait, that's his child, right?
I'm
I
assuming.
would
think so,
assume
yeah.
so.
Yeah, or his nephew or whatever the fuck.
The child is younger than Kevin. Like,
Yeah, it's Kieran.
He's like
I
5 or
think it's
6.
Kieran Culkin, Macaulay Culkin. It's one of the Culkins. And then he stands up and starts screaming at Kevin, who basically assaulted his brother because his brother stole his food and then threatened to vomit on him.
Like you do.
Because, as we've established, the older brother's a goddamn psychopath.
that's some
You're
next
mad that
level
I
stuff.
ate this pizza? You can have it back right
Yeah.
now.
Unhinge my jaw like it's fucking Blade 2. This adult man decides to scream at an 8-year-old in front of his parents who do nothing. And then they kick him up to the attic because they kicked him out of his room because apparently his aunt and uncle need his room, which implies he has some kind of bed set up that a fully grown man and woman can sleep in. This fucking 8-year-old. I hated this movie.
Man, what do these people do in Chicago to make this much bank, to have a family this big? 'Cause that house is huge.
What did you say the wife did? Who?
I'm assuming it's drugs.
It's implied.
Implied.
I don't know if she ever says it, but it is really implied that she is some kind of fashion designer.
And what is
based on all
dad
the
do?
mannequins, based on the clothes and everything.
Okay.
Let's just say the dad works for the bank.
yeah.
He works in
He is
sanitation.
Mr. Businessman.
He works in sanitation. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
He does the business at business.
Well, so the
business.
The mom's on a business call at the beginning, but I can't remember. I don't know if you hear what she's talking about, or if she's just
it's
like, "I'm
vague.
on the phone, Kevin. Please stop."
I'm on the phone with a client. Maybe she runs a high-end escort service.
Now
with-
that
with-
would
There you
explain the
go.
bank.
With all the mannequins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's real disturbing.
This movie just got weirder.
This is getting dark.
It's a disturbing film. I was disturbed.
Right?
There's a psychotic old man who keeps staring oddly at him, only to find out that he's not a bad guy. So then he bludgeons the two criminals at the end with a big metal shovel.
I understand the point of showing that Kevin's afraid of things, but they just kind of have this old man stand and do nothing and just look kind of weird.
And then John Williams really hits it home with his
Yeah.
score of like, he might as well be like, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't understand why
At
you. Why
any
you did
point,
this
this old man could have just looked at him and been like, "Why do you keep screaming every time you look at me?"
Hello.
You do realize that
Wave.
I'm a human being with feelings.
Please stop!
Yeah.
You're really hurting my feelings.
like,
My own kids don't even talk
Yeah,
to me.
my
Why are
kid-
you screaming at me?
I think Act 2 is probably the best act of the movie, though.
well, yeah, because I mean,
Act 2, not Act
well,
3.
no, Act 3.
Act
No,
3
Act
is the
3 is
best.
what I think what you meant.
No. Act 3 is the house invasion, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, Act 2.
So you
Because
were really
it's Kevin's development. You get to see him, not try
you
to
were
grow up.
moved by his journey.
You get to see him.
No, but
You
this is
get
the
to
most
see him
interesting part of the movie.
shoplifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoplifting, shopping for groceries.
Escaping the police.
Applying.
Scaring the pizza guy with the
Cologne?
machine gun
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah, watching film noir.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, okay, I'm alone, and now I'm a little kid, and I've got to figure this out. And you see him figure it out, and it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Everything there kind of makes sense. Act 3, though, oh my god, like stepping on nails, stepping on broken ornaments, getting your head whacked by a hot iron. Oh,
It's the best part of the movie.
cringe.
It is the best part of the film.
Cringe.
Best part of the film is when
That is-
Looney Tunes level violence happens to
Yeah.
them.
But
And-
it doesn't fit in with the first two parts at all. I know
No,
it's the
not
whole,
at all.
It's the whole thing of Home Alone, right? Like, everybody thinks about Home Alone, the home invasion.
Yeah.
Well, I would also argue that it doesn't go far enough to really work, which I think is something the second one does well, because when he takes out the crooks in the second film, the level of violence is like dialed to 11. It's
Yeah.
so cartoonish, and I think like
Yeah.
it sells it way better than this film, which is it's still like it's not realistic, but it's like it doesn't go far enough into the cartoony for you to be like, oh, this is amazing.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but when I was a kid, I kind of wanted to do all of that. Like,
Which hurt people.
I just
Yes.
wanted, I
What
wanted,
part of that did you want to do?
I wanted people to break into my house so I could set up crazy traps and stuff.
I
don't know.
wanted
What?
to
It
Rube
just-
Goldberg murder
it-
people.
As a kid, it looked real fun.
Okay, so how would you have done it?
Tell
With
me,
the tools?
Jigsaw, what's on your agenda
Yeah.
today?
What kind of
on your-
game would you play?
What's
with
on your
people?
mind?
If you
Right.
asked me like 15 years ago, I probably could have told you.
Okay, right now, though. Okay, right now, your current house.
If my house was broken into,
Yeah, what would you do?
call the police.
Dumbass. They won't help you. Police can't help you. Defend your own home.
Supposed to
States'
put
rights.
canola oil on your spiral staircase.
Stand your ground laws. This is a stand.
ask-
This is a stand your ground state. So you better get together some paint buckets.
Ask them politely to leave. And,
Politely to leave.
please, sir, don't take my things.
Offer them a cold one.
Yeah,
Look,
would you
can-
like a beer instead?
Sit down and tell me of your troubles.
I'll make you a deal. You take my PlayStation. I'll give you a couple beers. Let's just call this right now, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's not how that would actually work.
Well,
So you
yeah,
wouldn't be-
mostly
I don't know,
because
I've-
during a home invasion, if they saw you were home, they'd probably just fucking leave.
Yeah,
They want easy targets. That's the whole thing of home invasions. Like you
I think they want money, not a murder charge.
the whole plan, the whole point is that nobody's home. They abandon that immediately and go, well, nobody's home, but if they are, I mean, we'll just fucking murder this kid with a crowbar, right?
Oh, he
By
shot.
the end of the film, before they were rendered unconscious, Joe Pesci is about to eat that kid's fucking face.
His finger is literally in his mouth.
Yeah,
They
he-
threaten to burn the skin of his face off, bludgeon his chest with a crowbar, and devour his fingers like he's fucking Werner
Like, he
Herzog and Jack
literally-
Reacher.
yeah, he literally was about to eat his finger. What?
And all because at the very beginning of their invasion, he shoots that one guy in the crotch with a BB gun, and it's just the other guy square in the forehead with the BB gun.
By the way, if you've ever been shot in a sensitive area with a BB gun, I've not been shot in the crotch, but I've been shot in like the face.
Oh, it hurts.
You're taking some minutes. Like,
it
you're
hurts.
certainly not like I'll get up and go after that guy
Yeah.
unarmed.
My first reaction was if I was shot from a stranger, let alone someone if I was invading a house, which I wouldn't. But if I was shot in a sensitive area by a BB gun, my first thought would not be, I need to go kill that guy. And it'd be like, I'm going to go.
should
This
leave.
hurts. This really hurts. I need ibuprofen.
Well, I still like so they're hit like paint cans and they're sent down the stairs, and then at that point, I believe they run upstairs. He puts a tarantula on them, and then one of them takes a crowbar to the other one's sternum,
Slams the shit out of him.
hardcore.
Yeah.
And then they fall. Then
Like,
they
you
s-
probably just jammed one of his ribs into his fucking lung.
and it's the attic too. So let's say they're 4 stories up trying to follow him on a zip line. He cuts it, so they drop 4 stories into a brick wall and at story 2, and then hit the hard frozen snow of Chicago, and then they make it to the other house, right?
Yeah.
How are they still moving? That other guy's feet were torn to shreds.
Well, yeah, he
the
got
tall
tarred.
guy's feet are tarred. They're nailed. They're filled with glass and plastic. And then on top of that, he has a concussion from the paint can. The other guy's head has been burned and ironed.
Both of them had burns on their head
Yeah, both of them. One had been burned with an iron, and one of them had their head set on fire.
by a flamethrower.
Right. So
What's
they
the
have
purpose
some.
of that in the house, by the way? Did anyone wonder, like, what were you using that for otherwise? Or maybe that's one of his stupid older brothers. It's part of his shed that he's like, Mom, stay out of my shed. It's where I work.
Still killer in the making.
It's easier than shoveling snow. That's my headcanon for why
That's
they
your
have a
headcanon. See, in
flamethrower.
my headcanon, what I believe is happening is that I think his older brother. So I think what he did is he had to go back to his older brother's chest. Once he got past the porn, he found a manifesto. He moved that aside. Then he got the flamethrower out and was like, "Oh, thank God!"
Oh,
Buzz
there's
has
a false bottom in this chest.
And
Oh,
it's-
why
it's-
are there nails and metal tubes?
Yeah, there's nails, there's tubes, there's some loose teeth, and you're like, I don't know where he got these.
Good
There's
thing
a
it's loaded with
director's cut of this
butane.
film we're missing.
Well,
Maybe
His
maybe,
that-
uncle brought it back from Hanoi.
yeah,
Well, I was
maybe,
gonna say
maybe,
we don't know the dad's job. Maybe he's a flamethrowerist.
maybe he's a flamethrower expert,
Flamethrowerist?
A flame. I'm not even gonna.
a pyrologist.
There's no way.
There's no way what.
There's no way he's a flamethrowerist.
Really? You think that's,
you sure?
You think that stretches credulity? That's the thing we've said where you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Job title: flamethrower.
Gotta put a line in the sand somewhere. It's right here.
So anyway, meanwhile, all this is happening. So we have the parents who realize they've lost their child. They land in Paris. And the mom, understandably so, finally doing her fucking job as a parent, is like, I have to get back. And the dad is like, well, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm going to head out to the hotel apartment or whatever. And the mom's like, all right, I guess I'll stay here and try and save our offspring, you sack of shit who I'm divorcing after this. And she gets back to Scranton, Pennsylvania. And then John Candy, being the only decent, real human being in the movie.
Right.
Like, after she barters and sells herself across the Atlantic, he's like, well, our flight got canceled, so we rented a van. And want to get in my weird van with my band.
But they rented like a U-Haul, right? Like
yeah, and by
It was
van,
a budget
it was a
rent-a-truck.
budget rental truck that they were sitting in the back of.
Yep.
So she finally shows up and reunites with her son, and it's sort of heartwarming. And then the whole family shows up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got a connecting flight."
But it's like, where did the family come from? Because she went through all this effort to trade for tickets from this old couple, and then she gave them a bunch of jewelry and all this other stuff.
I think
Yeah.
the point is that it ultimately ended up taking her just as long to get home, whereas it would have had she just fucking waited for the flight.
I feel like
that
we're
they were
missing
able
such
to
a
get
weird-
We're missing a
Friday.
critical detail here.
That's such
When did the dad decide, oh yeah, everybody is coming back to the States, and then somehow managed to skip all these huge queues? Because remember, her ticket out was basically, okay, you can be on standby, or you can, and she ended up trading her ticket, and that's how she was able to get across the Atlantic ASAP. So in order for this timeline to make sense, basically, as soon as she left on that flight, and there's not a lot of flights from Paris to the U.S., vice versa, it's not like you have one every minute. Okay, there's small delays, 30 minutes, an hour, 6 hours. It depends on the time of year. It's
Right,
Christmas,
right.
we'll assume there's a lot. Okay, but how did the whole family manage to get on another flight, then take a connecting flight over, which quote-unquote took just as long as driving from, Pennsylvania to Chicago?
To Chicago.
So somehow that connecting flight took just as long as the drive. Okay, but they would have had to have gone to the airport and then gotten on a different flight or something. That doesn't make sense. They were either all on the same transatlantic flight.
The dad just pulled out another flamethrower and said, "Hey, we're getting
Yeah.
on this
Yeah,
plane."
the dad with his exorbitant wealth bought an airliner or something.
He literally bought a 737 and
But
just
They
said, "We're
stowed
going
away
here."
in a cargo container.
Steve, I like how your point was. Well, the whole point, the metaphor, the message is she should have just waited. And I'm like, so the message is don't give a shit about your
Yes,
children.
I mean, I really feel like that was the whole message of this film.
Like, who fucking cares about this, about your
Would it-
stupid kids?
And remember, this movie was released in 1990.
Would it
Yeah.
have been?
Remember that date.
Would it have been a more interesting movie if you only followed Kevin and never showed the parents until the very end when he's about to get killed by the bandits, and then the mom shows up to save him?
I think so.
I think that would be a better.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't need to see the rest of the family. This is all about Kevin, and he looks right at the camera.
Every
he breaks the fourth
scene-
wall multiple times.
It's like anything. Like, the more you show of something, the more you're opening yourself up to scrutiny. And so it's like, the more of the family you show, the more you're like, well, wait a fucking minute.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And I think so if you had just had them lose him, like if the last time you saw them was Kevin, like on the plane, and then
not,
she shows
not
up.
even like just.
Oh yeah, and you
don't
cut
even.
everything
Not even
you
on the
had
plane.
seen.
Yeah, just have him wake up and be like, "Where the fuck's my family?" And then they're just gone.
Oh, just like The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's just like
that's a
The
good
Walking
cut.
Dead comic.
So the whole family's gone. Like he goes up to his
28
room.
days later.
Yeah.
Now he walks outside. There's no one left. There's cars strewn everywhere. Things
Don't
are on
dead.
fire.
The
Open
helicopter
inside.
just falls out of the sky.
But then does he run into people infected with rage?
And,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden he's just like, "Oh God, I survived the snap."
He goes
That's
to bed.
how you. Oh, that's how you remake Home Alone. That's how you reboot it. It's a fucking zombie apocalypse movie set at Christmas about a kid who wakes up and his whole family was outside, and now he has to lock and barricade the doors because they're all zombies trying to get in while he's trying to learn the true meaning of Christmas.
So
I told them caroling was stupid.
So we're,
Yeah,
so
I
we're-
don't want to go a wassailing.
Santa, please help me.
So Home Alone Z.
Home Alone Z. Home Alones.
Yeah, Home Alone.
Home Alones.
How many sequels are there to Home Alone?
There's 4, I think.
3 sequels. There's 4 total, right?
4 total.
Yeah.
Is
I've
there a
not-
5?
Not that I know of, but then again, I'm not up on my Home Alone lore.
I know 3 was in theaters. I think 4 was direct to DVD, and I think that was the end of it. But I'm probably wrong.
I ask this question a lot, but does there need to be 3 sequels? And if so, which ones are actually worth watching?
2.
1 and 2.
Okay, so 2 is on par, would you say?
There are 5, by the way.
Wow.
2012, Home Alone, The Holiday Heist, ABC Family.
The Holiday Heist. Is this like Live Free or Die Hard?
Can we pause the podcast and watch that real quick?
No.
I'd rather not. All
Please
I had to
don't.
do was hear ABC Family to know
Yeah.
I wasn't interested.
What the
Excuse
fuck?
me,
But no,
Freeform.
Home Alone 2, I think, is better than Home Alone 1.
As a movie or just for fun value?
I'd have to rewatch
It's
it.
easier
but
to
me,
watch, but it's not a better movie.
Yeah, I just every time I think of Home Alone, I think Home Alone 2 is the one I'm thinking of. Like
Really?
But he's not
Other-
home alone. He's in a hotel in New York.
Hotel Alone.
Hotel.
Oh. This is the hotel one. I might have seen this one.
Yeah,
I don't
Tim
remember
Curry.
With the pigeon-
anything about
the
it.
Trump Tower alone.
The
Well, yeah, because
pigeons.
Donald Trump has a cameo.
That's
because
because he's staying at the Trump Tower.
Yep.
Ah, yes, but it's not called that, is it?
They were filming on his property, so it was, I want to be in the movie.
So I thought. Well, his stipulation was always if you film on his property, he had to have a cameo.
That sounds like a Trump thing, though.
it?
You want to film a movie on my property?
Oh yeah,
I'm
fuck you, pay me.
I'm gonna pay me a bunch of money and I'm gonna put my face in your movie. Like, yeah, I can see that.
You want your health care? Fuck you, pay me.
Wait. So, not how are the bandits there? Why are the bandits there?
I think it's just coincidence. They're out of jail.
Yeah, they're out of jail and they're just looking
That
for
quickly.
a new way to get rich quick.
So they moved
don't
to
they
New
like
York.
don't they run into them like on the street and they're just like, or the bandits?
Yeah, they
see
like
him,
run into him and they're just like, "Are you fucking serious?"
and then I think they go after him.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, we're gonna get that kid. This time he's dead.
Okay, wow. So this
I
was.
learned some stuff in prison. I'm gonna show him all
So
of
how
it.
do 2 convicts, first of all, serve such a short term? And I'm assuming the distance between Home Alone
Bush is
and Home Alone
America,
2.
man.
No. Home Alone 2, right? They don't take place that far apart, right? Like, what's the
2 years.
2
I
years.
think.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you're telling me
yeah,
they
yeah.
only
Was
got.
this before the Clinton tough on crime laws?
Yeah, this was 92. Yeah, these 2 films both take place in the H.W. Bush area. By the way,
Okay, we'll assume they just got out of
18
jail.
months, good behavior.
18 months good behavior for robbing a shit ton of houses and ruining them by clogging the plumbing and letting the sinks on. Which is
We won't even get into the finer. Well, so the thing is, though, the cops pick them up at the old man's house. So I guess they don't get charged with attempted murder of a child.
And it's
like
never-
the cops don't know that they tried to murder a child.
No, it
guess
seems
so.
like nobody knows that Kevin did any of
Yeah.
that. He doesn't tell his family. The bandits don't tell. the
So
cops.
basically-
he wants to be a vigilante. That's why. He's
Yeah,
got to
this
keep
is the
everything quiet.
This is an origin story.
Yeah. So basically, they got brought down for a B&E.
That's what we've been over this. These were both prequels
okay.
to the Saw films.
So 18 months, then they decide to move from Chicago to New York
York
City, one of the most expensive places to live in the U.S.
well, they don't
One
move
of.
there. It's just a vacation. It's like
a
they're going
crime.
They
on
have
vacation,
money for a
and
vacation.
he ends up. Yeah,
What?
Kevin ends up on the wrong flight.
If they have,
Yes. They don't forget him and get him to the airport, and then he ends up on the wrong flight.
that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it does because he's an idiot.
Kevin?
He's an idiot, and his family sucks.
Technically, it's impossible to get on the wrong flight.
Well, now it is.
Nowadays,
Yeah,
well,
I don't know
this is
about-
pre 9/11, Brian. That was actually
No,
quite
true.
possible.
I flew a lot as a kid. I don't remember being able to get onto an airplane without a ticket.
That's because you had responsible parents.
It still happens today. If you have a ticket with an airline and you go to the wrong gate, there's actually a chance you could end up getting on that flight.
They gotta scan you in, don't they?
No,
Yeah,
but I think in the movie, isn't it like a backpack switch or something?
Well,
like it's a misunderstanding, and people switch backpacks, and then somebody looks like his dad, but isn't his dad.
They switch hats.
They switch hats.
Basically,
It's like strange.
it's because it
Strangers on a
really it
train.
all comes down
Crisscross.
Yeah.
I feel like they were really stretching to try to make this first sequel work. I don't even want to know about the third and fourth.
Well, that's 'cause they don't have anything to do with the first two.
Oh, and fifth, but I guess that's just unmentionable.
Well, none of those films have anything to do with the original two.
1 and 2 are the only real canon.
okay, canon.
Yeah, well, if you were to reboot
So
it.
when
You would ignore
when
3,
you
4,
put
and 5.
when you put together your wiki page for this,
I won't be doing that.
yeah, your Wikipedia for Home Alone.
Yeah.
My Wikipedia.
Yeah, your Wikipedia, and then
You can describe what a flamethrower
so
is.
there'll be 2 tabs. There'll be Kevin McAllister parentheses McCulkin, and then there'll be 3, 4, and 5, and you have to flip between the 2 tabs. The way on Wikipedia for Star Wars, you have to do Legends or current.
For the Home Alone extended universe.
The Home Alone extended universe.
So we're gonna redo the Home Alone canon, but keep
Redo it?
some aspects. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so your reboot has to keep the first 2, and you get McCulkin back, and he forgets his kid. I mean, this is basic, right?
Oh my god.
I would assume that he forgets his daughter.
Yeah. So you get Daphne Keene from Logan.
Okay.
She's Macaulay Culkin's daughter, and he forgets her.
But it has to be somewhere like polar opposite to the original
So-
one. So
A
he
train-
lives in
a
like
train
Palm
station.
Springs.
So he no. He lives in the heart of Chicago. He runs a tenement building. But times are tough. Chicago is one of the most dangerous city in the world. It's real hard boiled. It's real gritty. It's real.
I feel like this
you
ends with
feel
his
it.
daughter getting shot.
No.
In like crossfire
And so-
from a gang
so-
war.
But she may or may
So,
not
wait.
use a
She-
9mm.
No, and then Catherine O'Hara has died, and he's got to go back. And he basically can't afford to take her. And he's like, I have to trust you here. No one else lives here. You'll be fine. So he gives her supplies. I'll just be gone for 2 days. It's gonna be fun. He's desperate. He's hard on his luck.
So milk, orange juice, fabric softener.
And then
Yeah.
fucking evil business developers show up to take over the tenement building because it's fucking squatters' rights because Chicago's basically post-apocalyptic anyway. And Daphne Keene's like, nah, man, fuck you. And then it's literally the end of the trailer is her cocking a shotgun as fucking Daniel Stern's on the other side with Joe Pesci's son played by, I don't know, Miles Teller. And they're like on the other side and she cocks a shotgun and he's like, do you hear that, Marv Jr. or whatever? And she blows the door off the hinges and it crushes them. And it says Home Alone.
So the shrapnel from the door turned into Home Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone.
All right.
Predators are the most dangerous game. Home Alone.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see the movie I just described?
I like to live by this philosophy of some things are best left untouched. Moving on.
She opens a trunk and she picks up.
I like this.
She picks up the shotgun and the flamethrower and she goes, "These were my uncles." These were my uncles. Montage of her fucking black electrically taping them together, and she
sold.
goes down a corridor like it's fucking like the raid, burning criminals alive. So if you're gonna do it, so Daniel Stern, so we need a veteran but younger improv actor who's really comedic improv actor, and then so Joe Pesci. So we need like a hard.
So we get Adam Scott.
Adam Scott. Adam Scott.
Okay.
Or a Bill Hader maybe.
Yes.
We get a Bill Hader, Adam Scott, and then we get like
You get Danny DeVito.
I'm good.
So you got Filthy Frank.
And here's what's gonna make this movie
you
great.
whore.
Just like with the first
You
Home Alone.
burned my face off.
Just like with the first Home Alone, we're gonna make this movie actually work with a great score. So I'm gonna call Hans Zimmer. So we get a couple extra minutes for that bonus scene we have to include because there's a sequel and an extended universe.
Yeah, what's the sequel to our reboot? What's our Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom?
I didn't think that far ahead, David.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to pitch it down the room. Okay, so
Is it her dealing with the fact that she just killed people?
so she's burned down the tenement building. She's in a juvenile detention center because they're dead.
Okay.
They're dead. They're dead. And Macaulay's visiting her every week, and he's like, trying to get you a real lawyer. We're working on your defense. We're going to get you out of here. I promise. And then 2 new guards start, and they are the spouses of the criminals from the first one. So it'll be, since what we were doing, we're going to do Bill Hader and Danny DeVito. Are we really sticking with Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, Bill Hader and Danny DeVito. Okay, so Bill Hader's spouse, obviously Kristen Wiig, and then and then we'll get for Danny DeVito.
We just have his actual wife. We get Rhea Perlman to come out of
Maybe.
retirement.
Oh, but she's retired. So let's see. Mary Steenburgen.
Okay.
Mary Steenburgen and Kristen Wiig join as guards, and they're like, "We're gonna fuck you up, little girl." And she's like, so the new Home Alone is the prison, and she was like, "I take over this prison," and she sets a series of traps, and she runs a fucking prison riot, and then it ends with her on a beach in Mexico, like the Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. So it's Home Alone,
The Home Alone Redemption.
You really want to...
Home
Coming
Alone.
2021.
Oh no,
I
we
have a better
gotta
idea.
stick with the original theme. So it's Home Alone. So we had Home Alone 2,
Lost
Lost
in
in
the
New York.
clink.
Yeah, Home Alone 2, Lost in the prison industrial
Yeah,
complex.
Lost in the
Oh,
Home
that.
Alone 2, Lost in the System.
There you go. I was gonna say Lost in Cell Block A or something, but
Lost.
Oh, the McAllister and Cell Block D.
And then we can call it there, right? But no, guys, we know
Home
how this is
Alone
going
3.
to work.
Okay.
Home Alone 3 is going to get called.
It's a trilogy. Everybody wants trilogies.
So Home Alone 2 breaks
Macaulay,
even.
I know you
It
have
breaks even at the
connections.
box
Call
office.
us. We've got
Yeah.
this.
But Hollywood's sure we can make this work on the third try. So we're going to bring in a whole new cast.
No. We got to go back. You have to go back on the third one. You have to go back to the beginning.
We gotta
You have to
go-
back to where it started.
We got to do a prequel, or are we going to
So
do like
she's
in
come
parallel?
back from Mexico. She has a new identity. Macaulay Culkin has died. She's come back for the funeral. She returns to her ancestral home, but she never knew it. You know, she
Right,
grew up
she
in this
didn't
tenement
know.
building. So she returns to the ancestral home where it started. The granddaughter of the neighbor, granddaughter of the neighbor, who's now an older woman. She has her own family. She takes her in and is like, I remember your father. Oh, he was so sweet and innocent, and he stopped those robbers with my grandfather. And so then, who comes a calling? The children of Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig, because obviously she murders Kristen Wiig and marries Steve
Obviously.
Virgin. So who shows up? So Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig's kid is going to be Chloe Grace Moretz, and her partner in crime is Danny DeVito and Mary Steenburgen's kid, who's going to be a little older. So let's say, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's say Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Glenn Howerton.
Fuck it, why not?
And he's hanging out with this like teenage girl, and it's weird, but it's kind of, you're like, okay, whatever. I
It
don't
was
know what's
like,
going
well,
on here.
this makes sense. It's fine.
Yeah, they're in a murder pact because they've got to kill this little girl now. But here's the thing: they're in the ancestral home. She's on the other fucking side now. She has to break in, and they've set the traps.
Ooh.
And she gets past all of them and murders them, and then and then the whole house. The end of the film has to just be the house burns down with all of them inside, thus breaking.
Oh
the cycle.
yeah. It's the house is burning down, and she has a paint can, and she lifts it up over Chloe Grace Moretz's head, and she's like, please don't. She goes, I don't know how else to live but alone. Crash. She lays off. She falls off to the side and lays next to the bludgeoned body of Chloe Grace Moretz. Glenn Howerton's body's already burned. And it's just smoking in the room, and she takes a piece of cheese pizza and she stuffs it into her mouth and looks up to camera and goes, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." Credits. Hans Zimmer. Dun, 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 dun.
We are gonna win so many Saturn awards for this film.
Oh my god!
We will be nominated for many
$1
things.
franchise. But
Spin-off video game, episodic mobile game. We'll get,
Home Alone Immortal.
I'm sure Tencent can help with that.
Home Alone 76.
Oh.
what, you guys don't have parents that are at home?
Yeah.
You guys don't want a
Don't you guys have
persistent
parents?
World Home Alone game? Don't you want your Home Alone game
Well,
to be
I mean,
persistent?
actually, you could make a mobile Home Alone game. It's just a tower defense game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You know what? But while we're at it, we can make
Isn't
that into a
kinda-
Dota mod.
Isn't that what's that game where you're like checking out your neighbor's house?
zombies ate my neighbors?
Hello,
No.
neighbor.
Hello neighbor.
Hello, neighbor.
Is this just this game or when you just stalk
No, no,
your
no.
neighbors?
This
What are you
is
talking about?
actually a game called
This is
Hello
my
Neighbor.
favorite
No.
game. It's where I look in their windows
No.
when they don't know.
I look in their window and I
No, it's
do
a
things
it's
to
a game.
myself.
It's a game called Hello Neighbor where you
Yeah.
are supposed to like go. You have a creepy next door neighbor, so you go snoop through his house
Yeah,
to see why he's creepy.
you play as a
Yeah.
little kid who sneaks into
Wait,
his house.
it's
but
Rear
things,
Window, the game?
What?
What?
Have you never seen the Hitchcock classic Rear Window?
No.
No.
Oh, it's
That's
really
exactly what it sounds like.
Well, it sounds like I need to see it. But
good. Yeah,
yeah,
it's great. It's great. I have no joke here.
You said
should
Hitchcock.
watch
You
it.
said
It's a
Hitchcock.
good movie.
You said Hitchcock. I got sold.
Yeah,
it's
it's really
that
good.
easy with me.
It's really good.
I love Hitchcock. So
Jimmy,
yeah.
Jimmy Stewart is pretty great. Oh,
Did you play Hello Neighbor though?
No, I've seen some people playing it on Twitch. The thing is, the reviews are really mixed because the game is filled with bugs. And okay, bugs happen, right? But in all games, I think we can agree, too many bugs, too frequently happening, it doesn't make for a good play experience, guys. Like everybody knows that games are glitchy. It's software. You're gonna have bugs.
Man, you clearly
Fallout
just don't.
76.
Yeah, you just don't appreciate Bethesda's style of building games.
Which is
Yeah, it's
never run a debugger, because that seems to be their SOP.
They're real laissez-faire developers.
Yeah.
We compiled it once and it actually compiled, so this is what we're
yeah,
publishing,
this
guys.
one, this particular build runs at
Ignore
least
the
for an hour.
13,000 errors and the 700 warnings. We're publishing this because it actually compiled. We have a binary. It's called Fallout76.exe, and we're pushing this to the store now.
Did they
Yeah.
make a Home Alone game? I feel
Yes.
like
They-
Super,
yes,
Super
yes,
Nintendo,
yes, they
right?
did.
There absolutely
Yes,
were Home
they
Alone games on
absolutely
the Super Nintendo.
And I tried to play them, and they were god awful.
I can't even.
I think the first one was actually on the NES, and then Home Alone 2 got one for the Super Nintendo.
I'm just trying to think of what you even did, because I know
It was
I
like
played.
a side scroller.
Dude, it was a side scroll. It was the same thing that every
Yeah.
It was
every
RoboCop
movie-
versus Terminator, but with Home Alone sprites. I mean,
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
like about
every single game or movie that came out had a movie or had a game tie-in, and it was always the same side scroller
I bet it was made
where
by.
you jump over or on top of rats and use a slingshot. Like,
Yeah, and I bet it was made by the same company that did all the Spider-Man games, and there was some other.
which Spider-Man game are you thinking of? Maximum Carnage? Because that one was actually
Oh
okay.
shit! Who do you think made the NES Home Alone game?
I actually, if I recall correctly, I think it was somebody big.
It's somebody big.
Bethesda.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
It
it's
was
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
I was kidding.
I'm 100% not fucking with you. Bethesda
I-
made
Bethesda?
the NES game.
This
LOL.
explains everything.
Bethesda made the NES game.
Guys, we went back too far. We're in too deep.
I wish I didn't know this.
We're in too fucking deep.
Oh man, how do we get out? No, it
David,
wasn't
put
our
your phone
first
down.
tip.
Get out of the interweb. It's going to pull you in.
It's weird.
Todd
it's,
Howard produced
It's
it.
weird. I kept clicking on Wikipedia, then I pulled a gun out of my stomach and put it to my head and went, "All hail the new flesh."
Yeah, he was just like, Wikipedia just showed up and was just like, hey, I need $3 from you.
I really wish we hadn't researched that.
You wish you didn't know there was a Home Alone video game?
Made by Bethesda.
I mean, I knew there
That-
was one. I already knew.
But
Like, I remember.
What if it was like Skyrim, but with Kevin?
What if
Would
it's-
you play it?
Guys, it's like Skyrim with Kevin.
Marv, I took a pinky to the knee. Anyway, I've been David.
I'm Brian.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Steve.
Let's watch Home Alone 2.
Merry Christmas.
Happy August.
Enjoy your summer.
Yeah. Thanks. Have a great summer.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.